Hello learners, welcome to this lesson. Today I will be teaching you the consumer rights and responsibilities. Do you know that as a consumer, you have the right to return a product you bought if it fails to live up to the guarantees set out in the Consumer Guarantees Act? Consumers should know their rights to be able to operate within the agreed norms. Consumerism dates back to 1915 when there was an advocacy for the rights and interests of consumers. Consumerism is a movement by consumers to ensure fair and honest ethical practices on the part of manufacturers, traders, dealers, and service providers in relation to consumers. Before we dash into defining consumer rights and looking at the consumer rights, let's also first of all take a look at a consumer. Who is a consumer? A consumer is a person who buys goods or services to be used or consumed by himself or herself or by someone else on behalf of the buyer. We can also see a consumer as anybody who chooses goods and services, spend money to obtain them, and uses them to satisfy his or her needs. Consumers are the end users of a product. Before we go, let's look at consumer rights. What do we mean by consumer rights? Consumer rights refers to principles of freedom that users of a particular product are entitled to. It is designed to ensure that fair competition and the free flow of truthful information in the market exists. So the whole aim of consumer rights is to protect consumers when they buy goods or are rendered services. Okay, now let's take a look at the rights of a consumer. What are the rights of a consumer? There are basically 8 universal consumer rights. Number 1, we have the right to be informed. This means the right to be given the facts needed to make an informed choice or decision. Consumers must be provided with the adequate information that will enable them to act wisely and responsibly. Number 2, we have the right to safety. This is the right to be protected against products or services that are hazardous to health or life. Okay? It is the right to purchase products that are safe, products that are not dangerous to the life or the health of an individual. Number 3, we have the right to choose or the right to choice. This is the right to have access to a variety of products and services at competitive prices. Okay? As a consumer, you have the right to choose a product freely among different alternatives. Okay? Number 4, we have the right to redress. This is the right to fair settlement of just claims. Okay? It is the right of a consumer to sue any business person that sell a fake or substandard products. Then we have number 5, the right to satisfaction of basic needs or the right to good things of life. This has to do with the right to basic essential goods and services such as adequate food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, water, education, etc. And then number 6, we have the right to representation or the right to be heard. This means the right to have consumer interests represented in the making and execution of government policy. That is, the consumer rights must be represented in the formulation of economic and other policies. Then number 7, we have the right to consumer education. This means the right to acquire knowledge and skills needed to be an informed consumer. Okay? To be able to make choices about goods and services. Therefore, consumers are to be provided with all the necessary information to be able to make wise choice. Then lastly, under consumer rights, we have the right to a healthy environment. Okay, this is the right to live and work in an environment that is free, an environment that is healthy, an environment that is clean, an environment that is secure. All right? An environment that does not pose threats to the lives of the people. So these are the 8 universal consumer rights. Now let's look at consumer responsibilities. Consumer responsibilities. Do you know that you cannot return any product or goods bought in a second-hand store or at a caution sales? Although consumers are meant to enjoy certain rights, for them to be able to claim any of these rights, they must know their responsibilities. When we talk about consumer responsibilities, it refers to the role a consumer plays in the way that goods and services are provided or made available to the public. So as a consumer, there are certain rights that you should be able to fulfill. And number 1, we have the right to critical awareness. It is the responsibility of a consumer to be aware of the quality, the price, the quantity of the product before purchasing. Okay, so as a consumer should shop around and gather information about a product before any purchase is made. Number 2, we have healthy environment. Healthy environment. It is the responsibility of a consumer to protect the environment where he or she lives. As a consumer, you must avoid littering the environment, putting dirt in the environment. That is why in most environments today, and even in our classroom, we have waste baskets. When you are done taking your Coke, your Fanta, or what have you, you are expected to put those waste inside the basket and not litter it around the class. So as a consumer, it is your responsibility to ensure that your environment is clean and tidy. Number 3, we have action. Action. It is the responsibility of the consumer to notice any breach in a product or in the products. For example, a poor quality or performance, and bring it to the notice of the appropriate authorities. When you notice any dissatisfaction in any product, it is your responsibility to take action, report that product or report the seller to the appropriate authority. Number 4, we have social concern. Social concern. As a consumer, it is your responsibility to be a decent consumer. Before you engage in any practices, you must take into consideration your environment, your social environment. Now, you must not engage in any dishonest practice as a consumer. So you have the responsibility to be a decent consumer. Do what is right. And lastly, on consumer responsibility, we have solidarity. It is the responsibility of a consumer to be in agreement with other consumers to come together and organize, influence, and promote their mutual interest. So as a consumer, you should work with other consumers, team up with other consumers to promote your interest. So these are the responsibilities of a consumer. With this, we have come to the end of today's lesson. Thank you for staying to the end of the class. Please attempt the quiz and do your assignment. I'll see you in my next class. For now, goodbye.